Guys, 2021 is almost over, and it's time to upgrade your wallet. And our friends at Ridge are here to help you step up your pocket game. This incredible wallet is light, sleek, and industrial. It doesn't fold or awkwardly bulge out of your back pocket. Ridge wallets hold to 12 cards, plus all the cash you need. Choose from over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It is the best wallet you can buy, but you don't just have to take my word for it. There are over 30,000 five-star reviews. I was skeptical at first, but once I tried it, I never went back to my old wallet. And for you, there's no pressure. Test it out for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, get a full refund. A Ridge wallet is the perfect gift for the holidays. There's a lifetime warranty, and when you click the link in the description, you'll get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns. Go to ridge.com/Chael, that's ridge.com/Chael, and use the promo code Chael. Chandler versus Gaethje. Guys, this was nothing short of a treat. And when these guys got in there, do you understand what was in that cage? Do you understand what their mantles look like at home if you could combine them? You have a Strikeforce belt. You have a Bellator belt. You have a UFC interim belt. You have the World Series of Fighting belt. It would have been an injustice to us, to the fans. It would have been an injustice had Dana not made that match. That had to happen. And one thing, guys, I think we forgot how good Justin Gaethje is. Justin Gaethje, for me, say you're a fighter or you dream of being a fighter and think, what do I have to do? How do I have to get my body? How do I have to get my mind? You're dreaming of being Justin Gaethje. That would be the final product. Justin Gaethje is your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. But you have to do one of two things. You have to be tougher than everybody else, or you have to be a better athlete. If you can do either one of those, sometimes you're going to get a guy who's both, Jon Jones, by example. But if you can just be one of those, you can go to the heights of sport. What I did not know about Justin Gaethje is what an athlete he is. I didn't know that. And I knew he was athletic, and I knew he'd been in sports his whole life. But the most athletic thing that I've ever seen Justin Gaethje do was a backflip off the top of the cage, which requires a lot of athleticism, but generally he's out there brawling. He showed what an athlete he was last night. One of the high spots in that entire contest was when Chandler took Gaethje up off the ground. Now, the pure laws of physics, something known as gravity, are going to assure you that Chandler gets to a dominant position. As they came down, Gaethje rotated. He did what's called a leg pass. A leg pass in the world of wrestling is your highest level of wrestlers. Just to know that position and know how to do that technique. Gaethje did a leg pass while in midair being brought down to a canvas. Came between the legs, popped out through the back, and that was the only point of the match. There was no punches that deterred Michael Chandler. There was no frustration, the losing of rounds, nothing broke Michael Chandler's spirit except for that. And if you go back and watch it, that is the only point. And it was a full 2 seconds that Michael Chandler dropped to the canvas, elbows, knees on the mat, put his head down and was frustrated. Now, Chandler recomposed himself, make no mistake, but that was a real high point. And Michael Chandler never went for another takedown. There's some things that you can do to a wrestler where you will make the wrestler stop wrestling. If the wrestler takes you down, but you can scramble right back up to your feet, the wrestler's not going to want to do that again. But secondly, if you do everything right, which Chandler did, and it kind of goes between your legs with a leg pass, gains elevation, turns, and comes out on top, you will not wrestle anymore. And I never knew what a good athlete Justin Gaethje was, but I do think many of us have forgotten just how good he is. And I really do feel that one of the shining stars of the Madison Square Garden card was Khabib. I feel like it's very hard for you to watch and enjoy Gaethje versus Chandler without immediately thinking of Khabib, who had absolutely no problem. Michael Chandler, who can't take Justin Gaethje down. Khabib could take him down anytime he wanted and hold him there and begin to manipulate joints while he's there. I mean, in all fairness, you watch, oh my gosh. So there's always a discussion when a guy leaves. Khabib leaves. And if he had beaten everybody, there'd be no discussion, but he didn't. There was new guys. Oliveira name emerged. Michael Chandler gets signed to the organization. There's new guys. So now the discussion keeps going. Well, not necessarily. Not if you have a common opponent who you ran through, who just whipped the guy. The discussion is now gone. I always believed Khabib was the best. Greatest of all time. recognized him for what he was. I didn't know he was this good. I did not know that Khabib was that good. It was the night that Khabib beat Justin Gaethje that opened my eyes. But now seeing Justin Gaethje come back, there's no argument, Justin was out of his prime. Oh, that wasn't Justin's night. No, he was not. Justin Gaethje's prime was against Michael Chandler. If you took the Justin Gaethje who won a championship at UFC 246 and you put him in there with the Justin Gaethje that Chandler had to face last night, Chandler's Justin Gaethje stomps interim champion of the world, Justin Gaethje. He's better, guys. He's meaner. He's in better shape. Breaking into those main events and those world title fights, getting Justin Gaethje in 5-round shape and then pulling him back to 3 rounds. It was one of the most intimidating athletes I've ever seen get in that cage. Justin Gaethje does not have wonderful head movement. He gets hit in the head a lot. But I had a teammate like this named Chris Lieben. You could hit Chris Lieben, but you're going to hurt your hand. His head was made out of concrete. You were never going to wobble him. You were never going to hurt him. You were never going to back down. He'll block everything with his forehead. Sure he will. Boom, boom, boom. Bad news is he's going to throw in 3 and 4 and 5 right more at you. So where do you go from here if you're Justin Gaethje? Because don't forget, Justin had 2 battles last night. He had the physical battle against Chandler, but he had a mental battle for perception against Islam. That conversation is now over. Justin Gaethje is the #1 contender, not Chael's opinion. This is your opinion. This is the vibe. This is the headlines. This is what they said on Sports Center. Justin Gaethje was able to beat perception, which is the hardest thing in life you ever can deal with, and defeat Michael Chandler in the same evening. It was perfect. It was perfect. And Chandler, not for nothing, also showed why he's getting paid the big bucks. Chandler is a straight-up badass. Chandler's got no quit. I believe Chandler broke his hand. He even signaled at one point. He was telling a coach or something. He showed his hand and shook it, and then he didn't throw it anymore. He started just blocking and feinting. He started being a punching bag that didn't have any offense. I believe for you the reason why that happened is I believe he busted his hand. I believe he had no weapons left. And he was so goddamn tough, he didn't tell the referee. He didn't tell Gaethje. He stood up there and took those last few minutes. That part of the story is still developing. I do not have an injury report on Chandler. At a minimum, I can tell you he did hurt his hand and it stopped him from using it, whether it was broken or not, between him and the x-ray. But to watch that contest, to watch the heart and the skill, to watch that play out over 15 minutes, and to realize what I've already told you to be true, that was the best version of Justin Gaethje. It's a very impressive thing. He did take on Islam. He started that early. He's got to beat Islam within perception, which means in the media. Gaethje succeeded. He's then got to deal with a Strikeforce and Bellator champion named Michael Chandler, who was this close to being the UFC champion, right? You remember the fight with Oliveira. He beat him too. The night belonged to Justin Gaethje.